It is with heavy heart that I'm here. Heavy heart that the U.S. military may be taking action against a noble and principled officer of the U.S. military who is saying to the U.S. military and the United States government that the war in Iraq is an illegal war, and he refuses to take orders to go to an illegal war. This is a right that a military officer has, to disobey illegal orders. And to be ordered to an illegal war is something that people can stand up against. And as you can see, not many people do. We have one officer that's done it. We have 24 men that are in Canada who have done it. We have 10 people who have gone to jail, been imprisoned, who have said no to these illegal orders. Ehren will be the first officer that will say no. By the Nuremberg Principle, codified after World War II, when the United States of America executed Japanese and German military officers and civilians for going along with what the international community termed illegal wars. That's when it came to the front, that we as civilians and military have the obligation and responsibility to say no to a government that takes us into an illegal war, a war of aggression. And by the Nuremberg Principles, a war of aggression is called a war crime. So our country the Bush administration is committing war crimes. The country of Iraq did nothing to the United States of America. The Bush administration invaded and occupied a country that did nothing to the United States. And by the three principles of legal wars, one of which is if the United Nations Security Council will vote that the international community has to take military action against a threat to the international community, the Bush administration was unable to get the UN Security Council to vote for military operations on Iraq. Another one of the principles is that if there's an immediate or imminent danger to your country, the weapons of mass destruction were not imminent danger. In fact, there was an ongoing UN inspection to determine if there were weapons of mass destruction. But the Bush administration threw away that and said, we're going in anyway. And the third is to prevent a humanitarian disaster, such as a genocide taking place. And while there were the Saddam Hussein regime 10 years before had committed atrocities on its own people, it was not doing so at the time. In fact, the atrocities that were being committed on the people of Iraq were being committed by the international community, by the international sanctions that had been placed on the country. So in my opinion, and in fact I resigned my career as a diplomat because I firmly believe the United States, the Bush administration, has taken the country into a war crime, into an illegal war of aggression. I firmly support Lieutenant Watada's decision to refuse orders to deploy to Iraq. I think he is on firm, solid legal ground that he is disobeying an illegal order. We support him. Others support him too, not just myself. A colleague in the diplomatic corps of the United Kingdom back in March of 2003, the same month that I resigned, she also resigned. She was the deputy legal counsel of the equivalent of the British State Department or the Foreign and Commonwealth Office. Her name is Elizabeth Willemshurst. And in her letter of resignation, she specifically states that the invasion and occupation of Iraq by the United States and the United Kingdom would be a war crime, as a war of aggression. And that was her legal opinion to the British government. The British government also threw away the legal opinions of its lawyers and went ahead, just as the Bush administration went ahead, to this illegal war. I think we all have a responsibility as citizens to support those in our government, particularly our military, who stand up. It's not easy to stand up. Having been in the military 29 years, I know the pressures that Lieutenant Watada is under. It is a very difficult thing to go against the organization. When I resigned from the State Department, that was very difficult. I had spent 16 years there. and it's hard to leave your colleagues. And I know Lieutenant Watada is having a difficult time leaving his colleagues, the people that he's trained with. But there are higher principles at stake. There are principles that will save one's conscience. I mean, it is an act of conscience that he's doing, but it will save his soul. For going to war, to an illegal war, where you will be committing illegal acts, where you will be, in the name of the United States of America, be committing murder. These are things that people have to evaluate what they want to live with the rest of their lives. And Lieutenant Watada has said, I will not have on my conscience the murder of innocent men, women, and children. I will not participate in an illegal war of aggression, a war crime. I hope that all people of the United States will join us on June 27th when we do call for a national day of action to stand up for Lieutenant Watada. We have lots of organizations that have endorsed this. We have Global Exchange, Not in Our Name, the War Resisters League, Veterans for Peace, United for Peace and Justice, Code Pink, Women for Peace. Here in the Seattle area, we have the Seattle Draft and Military Counseling Center, Olympia Movement for Peace and Justice. We have the Central Committee for Conscientious Objectors. We have the Campus Anti-War Network. We have the Action Center for Justice. We have the Catalyst Project. We have cities that are participating: Seattle, Olympia, Tacoma, Charlotte, North Carolina, Cleveland, Ohio, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and San Francisco, California. And we hope that hundreds of cities all throughout America, cities and towns, will join with us in a day of protest against this illegal war and a day of conscience for people, citizens, and military to stand up to say no more to these wars. Thank you.